Okay, so let's talk about our Sunday services and how we can team up together to make our services amazing and fruitful, right? Fruitful, that is, they're transforming in people's lives, in everyone's life who comes. And you have a major part to play in that, even if the only thing you're doing on a given Sunday is attending the service. So let me share with you just some of the ways you, as a part of Team Victory, help make Sunday mornings happen and help make them powerful and transformational. The first thing you need to know is that for us as a church, Sunday is like game day. It's the big deal. It's our biggest chance and our greatest chance to have a powerful impact and influence in your life and in other people's lives. It's by far, and when I say by far, I mean it's 90-some%. It's by far, in a way, the place where we see the most people experience salvation and experience significant moments in their lives and so on. So Sunday's a big, big deal, and we all want to team up together to make those services super powerful and super influential. Now, that being said, Sunday isn't everything. The church is the church 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and there's so much more to talk about. We'll talk about other things in other videos. But in this video, you need to understand that you can help make game day, our big day, a big deal. And you say, well, how do I do that? First thing you can do to help make Sunday a big deal, show up. Show up. And honestly, this is huge. If you're part of Team Victory, be committed to showing up, right? Like any coach will tell you that. If you don't show up on game day, if you don't show up even on practice day, then what are you doing? We're a team. Like, be committed, be a part of it. And your commitment means something, not just to you, it means something to the rest of us. It means a million to me. It means so much to every other person. When they see you showing up week after week after week and saying, I'm committed, I'm committed, I'm committed. You know what? I was tired today. I didn't get a good sleep last night. I had other commitments that were calling for me, but you know what? For me, it's a non-negotiable. Every single Sunday, I'm going to be there. And this is a huge deal for your kids too, for other reasons, which I can't get into in this, but show up and show up every time you possibly can. Now, you know, if you have a work schedule that you can't possibly get out of, for sure, we get that. If you are sick one Sunday and you can't be there, for sure, we get that. But be the kind of Christian who just goes, for me, I'm on Team Victory and Sundays are a non-negotiable. And that makes a world of difference. It really does. So don't make that a small thing. You know what? When you have a vision, it's hard to see how the small things really play into it. But when you're consumed with a vision, it's hard to see how the small things don't play into it. You see everything ties into it. And showing up is a huge, huge deal for that. Second thing I would say, you can help make Victory awesome by showing up with energy, showing up excited, showing up bringing your best, showing up going, oh my goodness, it's game day. Oh my goodness, I get to worship God. I get to be with God's people. I'm pumped. I can't wait to be a part of that. I'm praying that God's going to move. And so you've got to sort of psych yourself up into that and be like, I'm going, it's church day. It's like Sunday becomes the best day of the week for you, and you come excited, you come energized, you come engaged in worship, engaged in greeting, engaged in the sermon, taking notes, saying, God, speak to me. You're that kind of team member. You're a keener. And again, when you do that, it doesn't just bless you. That'll bless your life. But it blesses everybody around you. It changes the atmosphere here. You are not just a thermometer, noticing the temperature. You're a thermostat. You help set the temperature in our church. And when everybody comes with energy, when everybody comes excited, when everybody comes pumped up, when our team knows that, man, I'm bringing that. You are doing so much for the rest of us. You do so much for me as preacher. You do so much for our worship team. When you engage, I'm telling you, it means the world to them. When you're serving with energy and passion in children's ministry, I mean, how much difference does that make to a kid when the teacher and the helper are pumped about being there? It makes all the difference in the world. So show up and then bring energy. Bring energy. Please, please, please. I just plead with you, part of Team Victory, bring your best energy. It doesn't mean you have to be an extrovert. It doesn't mean you have to be loud and a screamy person. You can bring energy within your personality. But please, please, please show up and bring your best self. And it doesn't mean you can't have bad days, okay? Some days you're going to come in and you're just going to be drained and down and hurting. Well, hey, then let those days be the days where everybody else brings their energy and lifts you. But bring your best self every single week. It makes a huge, huge difference when you do that. Third thing would be help us set the table for guests. This is who we are as a church. We set the table for guests, okay? So that just means when you come on a Sunday, you're thinking, this isn't just about us. This isn't just about me. This is about those who are coming as newcomers, as visitors, and especially those unchurched friends, families, neighbors, coworkers, and classmates who are coming with someone else. You know, we dream and pray and plead with God to move in the lives of our loved ones, our neighbors, our coworkers, our friends, our classmates, our family members. And then we invite and invite and invite and invite and invite and invite and invite. And when somebody finally comes with you, when somebody finally shows up and comes to church with you, oh my goodness, that's a moment, isn't it? That's a moment where you're just like, oh, this is it. And so we all need to be teaming up so that that moment is the best it can possibly be. And so that just means we set the table for guests. That doesn't mean we don't eat. It doesn't mean we don't have a wonderful time. It just means we're all always thinking, how does a newcomer feeling right now? Are they feeling loved? Are they feeling accepted? Are they feeling welcomed? Are they feeling over the top cared for? Are they experiencing the best possible experience they can? And you help with that, because that takes all of us, right? That means that when you notice that the bathroom is messy, you don't say to yourself, I wish they would keep the bathroom cleaner around here. You say to yourself, that's my bathroom and my guests are coming. And so I got to make sure that that's as clean as it can be. And if I don't know where the cleaning materials are, I'm going to go find somebody and get them to do it, or find the right person, or get it done. If I see a piece of garbage, if I see that snow needs shoveling, this Sunday that happened, we had snow that needed shoveling. Somebody just jumped at it and said, well, guests are coming. You know, so all of us have that spirit about us in everything we do. And because of it, we're always all giving our best. When we're serving, with worship, with preaching, with whatever media we're doing, we have an agreement with each other, with nursery, with children's ministry. This is so, so, so important with children's ministry. We all have an agreement with each other. We know that every Sunday, somebody's friend is coming. Somebody's family member is coming. And we all go, there it is. There's the opportunity of a lifetime for God to move and work in that person's life. I don't want to blow it. I want to make sure that they have an amazing experience in nursery, in greeting, in the parking lot, finding their parking space every single step of the way. So help us set the table for guests. Okay, so you're going to show up, you're going to bring energy, you're going to help us set the table for guests, whether that means you're serving somewhere or it just means you're here looking around, doing your best to make this place the very best place it could possibly be for everyone to have that powerful experience. What else do I want to say in there? Just remember that means owning the church, making it yours. The other week, my wife noticed we have a wonderful gal who has served before in our resource center, and she noticed that there was nobody at the resource center. She just jumped in and started working there. It wasn't her Sunday to serve. She just noticed that it needed doing. Last week, a gentleman in our church noticed a parent come in with kids who looked like they didn't quite know. And they said, hey, are you new? And they said, yes. And they said, let me take you to children's ministry. They didn't just point the way to children's ministry. They said, let me take you there. Introduce them to people there. Got them settled there. And then a little bit later on, after the service, they came and said, hey, come and meet those at the guest center. Come and meet some of our leaders. They went over and above. They went the extra mile to make that wonderful. So again, just all the things you can do to bring that. A number of years ago, my family and I visited a church in the U.S., in the States, and it was a church that was growing and thriving, and so we were learning, all we could about them. One of the fascinating things to me was we were driving along this highway to pull into this church, and there was people on the highway at the turnoff into the church holding signs up like, welcome, join us for church today, we're glad to see you. And they were smiling and holding up these signs out on the highway. And we pulled into the lane to pull off the highway to come in. And so they waved to us and held up their signs, and we felt so welcomed. But then I'm a pretty outgoing guy, it's my personality. So I started like waving at them and going like this, and we had my family in the car so they could kind of see that. And you know what happened? There was maybe 4 people there holding up their signs and smiling and waving. 2 of them just went berserk. They started jumping and shouting and freaking out. And it was just this experience that our family talked about for days and days and days. Now, I think they could tell by our family and our cheerfulness and the way we were laughing about it, that it was the right moment to do that. But you see how that over-the-top welcome and love means the world? Now, contrast that with me. Another holiday I was on, I visited a church. It was a wonderful church, a solid church, a Bible church. You could just feel that it was solid and a good church. It was fairly large. But I couldn't help but feel the whole time I was there, something was awkward. Something was odd about it. The way I came in, the way I was greeted, the way I kind of toured myself around the building. And then after I left, and I kept thinking, what was weird about that church, or what felt a bit off? And it dawned on me a little bit later. I felt like I was kind of an inconvenience there. And I'll explain. That church, great church, but it really existed for those who were already attending. They weren't really thinking about newcomers. They never mentioned new people. They used insider language. They had all kinds of cool events and programs and ministries. And if you were a part of that church, you would have loved it. That effective kids ministry, effective moms ministry. They had some really cool stuff for Mother's Day. We were there on a Mother's Day, and they did some really cool things for Mother's Day. It was professional. It was clean. It was friendly. It was so good, but it just wasn't geared to a new person. And I actually felt like, as a new person, they were not annoyed, but just slightly inconvenienced by me, because I wasn't part of the group, and they would have allowed me to slowly become a part of that community, and probably if I would have attended there for 12 weeks, I would have been in the in group and life would have gone on. But it was just such a different experience than that kind of church that knows its mission is to set the tables for guests. Okay, so that's big, and you can help make Sundays that way. Let me say one more thing about Sunday, and that is this: help us make everything lead towards the altar call. And so what I mean by the altar call is the response time in our services, where I invite people to respond to what God has spoken to them and what the Holy Spirit has said to them, and in particular to salvation. And here's why. Right from the parking lot, people are starting their altar call. People are starting their response to what God does in their life. And so you got to think, what could distract them? If there's a child crying in the sanctuary, that might distract them from getting everything God has for them that week. Or if somebody was rude to them, or if there was something else distracting, or that didn't work, or the words weren't on the screen at the right time, or the parking lot person, didn't smile the right way, or the kids ministry didn't quite, sign their kids in fast enough, and so it was a bit of a bottleneck, and it took a long time, and they were late for the service, and that stressed them out, or they couldn't find a seat, or, the 150 possible things, right? Or the preacher said something offensive that didn't need to be in the sermon, it just kind of pushed them the wrong way a little bit, or whatever. There's all these possibilities. So here's the deal. Everything about the Sunday is leading to that moment where they can have a transformational encounter. And that's true for all of us, but just for you all to know that everything's leading up to that. And so we're all working together for that. And when that moment comes, be responding to God yourself, because that's a transformational moment for you, but also be praying. God, move, God, work, God, I want to see you touch a life today, and allow yourself to have that same spirit. It'll help. Okay, so those are some of the things you can do. I was talking about this with somebody the other day, and they said, you know what, imagine if everyone in our church, everyone in our team came next Sunday and they treated this place as their own house, and the people walking in as their own guests. How would they act, and how would it be? All right. So what do? Show up, bring energy, bring your best self every single week. Be prayed up and excited and own this church. Help us set the table for guests. Go the extra mile everywhere you see that you possibly can. Remember why we're doing this, right? It's not about us. There's a sense of urgency every Sunday that God would work and act in people's lives, and that people's eternities will indeed be changed. We get to do this, church. How cool is that? Thanks for helping us make Sundays fantastic, fantastic days. They're like the front door of our church. They're how we welcome new people and how we really grow in number as a church. So thanks for helping with that. And please invite people, and you'll see what God will do. Sometimes it takes multiple invitations for people to come, but they will. And they'll come on your arm, and we will all be teaming up to make sure those people you invite have a fantastic experience, and God meets them in a powerful way. Thanks.